So, hello everyone and welcome. Today we're going to take a look at all of the different things that you'll need to look out for if you want to play really well in the next Mirrors ranking on the Japanese server, because it's very different from the North American server, but you probably won't play that well anyway, because if you're on a new account you can't really do much. A lot of the stuff in here is going to require you to actually have a whole lot of stuff, but even so, you all need to know what there is to know about the Japanese ranked mirrors. So let's look ahead into that, and I've already opened a page that's going to be very relevant to what we're going to talk about today. However, we first need to take a look at the actual rule set that is going to be used on the Japanese server, and it's been like this for like half a year, a bit longer. So here on our Discord, FBW, the Great and Grand FBW has written down in the hashtag Mirrors channel, it's written down the rules that are being used on the on this Mirrors ranking. There has been some changes, but not recently. There have been changes like about a year ago, where basically the whole Magia meta started, where a lot of people have been saying like, oh, that's now we're in the Magia meta because of basically the rule set, and there have been some slight adjustments to it, but it's still mostly the same. So we're going to take a look over what the rule set that we're also going to be using for this very next Mirrors ranking in like a few days, tomorrow even, I don't even know, are going to use. So these are the current rules. And we will see that there are a whole lot of multipliers that basically decide what sort of score you get. Of course, when you select the enemy team, you will already see if it's an enemy team that the game thinks is really powerful, you will get a higher multiplier just from the enemy strength than if it was, like, for example, a solo character that the game will say that's a really weak enemy team. So it will have a lower rating associated with it. Basically, any team that the game decides for some algorithm is bad. For example, any team that has Toka on it is really bad. But let's look at let's look past that specific multiplier and talk about what you can do in the actual battle itself in order to have a better multiplier on your score. So we start out with the turn multiplier. That has been something that has also been in the Mirrors ranking on the North American server, or in general the old Mirrors ranking, although it was a bit different here. But what matters now are these numbers, which is on first turn the multiplier. If you end on turn 1, if you somehow win on turn 1, which with Blast Gorillas would be very easy, you get a 2.45 multiplier to your score, which is really high. But if you end on turn 2, you get the same multiplier. So it doesn't matter if you end on turn 1 or on turn 2, you get the same multiplier. And if you end on turn 3, the multiplier only goes down by a little. So there's still not that much of a difference between the multipliers. So after that, however, we see that on turn 4, the multiplier goes down by quite a bit between 3 and 4, meaning that you definitely want to end somewhere on turn 1, 2, or 3. We also see if you end on turn 5 or any time after that, you get a really small multiplier, so you definitely don't want to end that late. So we already know, yeah, somewhere between turn 1, 2, or 3 are going to be what we're aiming for. Next up, we see that we have a bonus for skills and connects. Now, of course, on the North American server, there has also been a bonus for just using a connect. Basically, if you just used one connect, you would get a bonus. And until now, for everything we've gone over, we're basically looking at mostly the North American rules. Yeah, just end fast with a connect. So because the rules were basically just this on the North American server, or just the old rules, because of course Japanese players have been used to the old rules for 2 years now, until this change happened a year ago. You would just have two Blast Gorillas, that could survive turn 1, and you would just get a connect on turn 2 and win on turn 2 with a connect. And that would be the best thing you could possibly do, and that is how you would get S3. But we're going to see that there's going to be a bunch more stuff that are going to be going into the ranking for these new rules. We also see, for example, that we also get bonuses for using a skill. A skill is just any active, like from an active Memoria or your Spirit Enhancement active. So you want to have Spirit Enhancement actives, you want to have Memorias, but hey, since we are trying to look for maybe a turn 2 or turn 3 finish, maybe it will be better to finish on turn 3 so that we can use more skills. Because, of course, active Memoria become active on turn 3. However, isn't it possible to get active Memoria out on turn 2 already? I wonder if that's possible, that you can get active Memoria on turn 2. Well, wondering about something else, however, is, well, can you just spam skills and get infinite points? No. because you can only get a maximum of 3 skills to go into your ranking rating, and a maximum of 3 connects to go into your rating. So you want to have as many connects as possible, but you can't get bonus points for more than 3 of those, same with skills. So you kind of want to use as many skills as possible, but at least three skills to get the maximum rating for that. And now we're going to get into what actually makes Magia meta, which is you get a whole bunch of stuff for Magia and doppel bonus. So as you can see, you get bonus points for using more Magia and doppel. Interesting enough, I think the earlier iteration of this, because like I said, there have been some changes to these rules. I think in the earliest parts of these rules, the first time these rules were made, there wasn't a cap for Magia and doppel. I think you could literally just use infinite Magias to get an infinite multiplier. Not quite infinite, but quite a lot. And I think it might have been the same for skills, but not that doesn't matter. It's all in the past now. So you'll see that there is some sort of weird numbering going on here with the first, second, and third Magia and doppel. But basically what really counts is that you just get at least 3 Magia out for the optimum rating. But if you don't get all 3 of them, it's totally fine. Like for example, look at the following scenario. You'll see that if you use your first Magia in the Mirrors battle, you'll get a multiplier of 0.16. If you use then a second Magia, you get a multiplier of 0.06. It's like 6%, like plus on top of that. Then if you use a third Magia, you get plus 0.05. Now if we look at the turn rating up here, let's say for example we're on turn 3, and you could say, if I wait one more turn, on turn 4, I could get 3 Magia out, while right now, maybe I can only get 1 Magia out, and then I would have to end the fight immediately. But maybe if I go to turn 4, I can do 2 more Magia, and like get a total of 3 Magia. That would be great, right? But if you do the maths, you'll see that if you get 2 more Magia, you get a bonus of, in total, plus 0.11, but you lose 0.6 on the multiplier for going to turn 4. So while you kind of want to use really many Magia, as many Magia as you can at the same time, you kind of don't want to go too far into the turns. You kind of don't want to play an additional turn just to get more Magia out. You kind of want to have all those Magias available on turn 3 at like the latest point in time where you can use those Magia. However, if you look at something else, we have doppels. Oh, wait a second. A doppel gives a plus 0.3 modifier. That's actually quite amazing. Let's say, for example, you could also have a connect into a doppel. If you have a connect into a doppel and it's your first doppel that you use, that's a plus 0.5. Plus 0.5 is almost enough to overcome the loss in points that you get from going from turn 3 to turn 4. So as it turns out, there's a little bit of worrying about how you can throw your actions around on what turn you should be doing what in order to get the most amount of points, because there actually are some situations where you can go to turn 4 and actually gain points, but that's rather rare. However, let's keep going down the rule sets, because I don't want to give too super duper in detailed stuff, because this is all basically for whales anyway. Like if you want to get S3, like S2, if you're not a whale, then you can't really do that. You could on the North American server, if you weren't a whale, you could still get like S2 or something, or S3 if you're really, really lucky. But as a non-whale on the Japanese server with these rules, yeah, forget about it. It's not possible. Anyway, the most important part is you want to get Magia soon, and if you can get multiple, that's really awesome. However, there's a bunch more stuff. Now you could be thinking to yourself, okay, so there are some bonuses for using Magia, okay, but what if I just say, okay, I'm going to make sure that I win on turn 2 or turn 3 every single time with my blast team. I'm still going to play a blast team, and I'm just going to win on turn 3 with hopefully 2 connects, and then I'm still going to get a lot of points, right? Well, there's something else to worry about. If you're playing a pure blast team, chances are you're probably playing rather offensively, you're probably playing with attack-focused characters, and those usually aren't that tanky. But there's actually something else that we need to worry about, because now we see we actually get a penalty if people die. If characters on your team die, you lose points. So no matter what your team size is, it's just a different penalty depending on your team size. But no matter what your team size is, you want to make sure that you never ever have characters die. Your characters should always be on at least some HP, but not completely dead. So maybe somehow we can use our active abilities to manipulate enemy AI. Maybe we can have some guardians and make sure that people don't die. And that way maybe characters would drop to like, let's say we have like 4 characters and all of them drop to like 20% or like 10% or something like that. Let's go with 20%. Then sure, at least we wouldn't get a certain survivor penalty, right? That would be great. We would still be getting maximum points, right? No, because you also lose points if your characters are in total, like if your entire health pool is very low. So in that example I gave you 4 characters, all of them on 20%. Overall, if you were to throw all of your HP, all those 4 characters, if they all threw their HP into a giant pool, and then that pool would be 20% full. They would have 20% of their maximum HP in total. But let's say, for example, you had one character that has 100% HP and another character that has like 10% HP. Then in total, your HP pool is about 55%. We're just going to say that all of them have like a similar amount of HP, like total HP. So you also don't really want some characters to drop really low. In general, you actually want your team to stay as healthy as possible. Like your entire team should stay as healthy as possible. How do we do that as a Blast team to keep our people healthy and safe? Blast characters usually aren't defensive. So how do we do that? Well, we play Magia. And that's the second reason. That's the second reason why this is the Magia meta. Because with Magia, well, or rather with Magia teams, with Magia characters, usually Magia characters have some defensives on them. Maybe they even have some heals in there. You can even play some tanks, some tank characters. Some tank characters that can get to Magia very easily would be really nice. If such characters existed that could be really, really tanky, have a whole lot of defenses, and also get to Magia really, really fast, they would certainly be a top tier character. Anyway, that's basically the rules in here. So I've talked a lot about the individual rules now, but just in total, to put everything into one coherent perspective, is win by turn 3 with at least 1 or 2 connects if you can both connects. 2, get as many Magia out as possible. Also by that time somehow, so you kind of need to somehow be able to use Magia on turn 3, which seems really hard, but is actually possible. Not that difficult actually. And 3, keep everyone alive and healthy. Make sure that somehow you either heal your people up before the game ends, or you just don't drop low to begin with. If we combine all of that, we end up with what kind of meta? We don't end up with the kind of meta where we win on turn 2 with Blast Connect. That's not the kind of meta we end up in. We also usually don't end with the meta where we try to just stack up damage and try and play a long con game somehow, because by just stacking up damage, we're just also going to drop our HP somehow, and we're going to drop low. We might lose people. That's not very good. So we just end up with a very defensive Magia meta. People always call it the defensive meta, the Magia meta, but I think it would be better to call like a tank meta or a defense meta, because that's actually more accurate to what it is. You just end up working towards Magia while being tanky. So let's talk about some stuff that you might actually take a look at, like in characters, memos, or whatever, to play this sort of meta. So we're going to start out first with a character that probably everyone has heard about, probably the queen of the ranked mirrors. It's of course Suraji, because Suraji is able to get sometimes even a turn 2 doppel. Not even kidding, turn 2 doppel is possible with Suraji if you play a very specific team. However, even without that, even if you don't do this very specific thing that gets you to turn 2 doppel, you can still get to turn 2 Magia, it's almost guaranteed. Why? First off, she has 2 nodes where she gets bonus MP when damaged, which makes her get like 15 or something MP when damaged. I don't even know, like 14, like a whole lot of MP when she gets damaged. Secondly, actually it's more like 16, because she has 3 MP gain up nodes. 3 MP gain up nodes. Okay. She has a total of like 27.5% MP gain up. Okay, that's pretty good. What else does she have? She starts the battle with 25% full, which at Magia level 5 is 50. She starts the battle with 50 Magia. And now you see, wait a second, she starts the battle with 50 MP. She has 27% MP gain up. And when she gets damaged, she gets like 16 MP. But you know what? None of that actually matters because she's not gonna get damaged, right? She has so much defense, there's no way she gets targeted unless she has a provoke active. And then she gets targeted every single time. And you can actually sort of get to turn to doppel with that. It's possible. And if you're wondering, but wait a second, we don't want to win immediately. We want to win around turn 2 or turn 3. But if we win too fast, we don't get connects out, we don't get skills out. Like every turn that we get, we can use more connects, we can use more actives, although like I said, you can only get to 3 actives towards your rating. We might want to get more Magia. If we get more Magia, that's good as well. But if she gets a turn to doppel or turn to Magia, wouldn't she just win immediately? Wouldn't she just kill everyone? No, first off, Magia deal half damage in mirrors, okay? Keep that in mind, Magia deal half damage in mirrors. Secondly, her Magia deals no damage. This is literally the weakest damage Magia in the entire game. In fact, even her doppel is so weak, it deals less damage than other people's blast discs. Like this is a 308%, which is actually half because it's mirrors. It's like 150%. And guess what? Blast disc bonuses might go up to like 1.4 or 1.5 even on some characters. So even her doppel deals as much damage as other characters' blast discs. So and she has like basically no attack. So she doesn't kill anything. She really doesn't kill anything, even with doppel. This makes Suraji an amazing character for this sort of game mode. Who else is an amazing character? Well, we also have as another amazing character, we have Mitama, because Mitama is also able to get to Magia really fast because he has three Excel discs. So actually, in general, any Excel gorilla is really good. But secondly, well, she doesn't have that much defense, but at least she has some decent amount of HP. HP is really nice. She has some defensive, she has damage cuts in here against at least Excel disc. She has shield adept in here for more defensives. She has an active redraw discs. If you draw terrible discs in mirrors, usually that's the end of the game. But you can just redraw those and try again. Awesome. What else can she do? Her connect heals. So we want to get 4 connects. Hey, if you get a connect from Mitama, she can heal someone. And guess what? You are not going to lose that many points for having low HP characters. Awesome. What about her Magia? Will her Magia end the game? No, her Magia deals no damage. That's why it's very easy to get multiple Magias off with Mitama, because Mitama is not going to kill anyone with her Magia. There's also something you need to worry about. If you had a really strong character with a really strong Magia, their Magia would just end the game, and then other characters couldn't use their Magia. And you want to use more Magia. So Mitama's Magia is perfect because she basically makes it so you can't lose, because the enemy just gets destroyed like with debuffs, but they don't die from that. Awesome. What else do we have? Well, she has actually a bit more to Mitama because she also has a personal. Mitama's personal also gives her 15% MP gauge increase on battle start, which means 30 MP when she starts the battle. Also really nice. Some other characters are really good. For example, Ao is Arena. Basically, any Exile Gorilla is really good. Other characters, maybe Madoka. Madoka can be really good as well because she has a connect that gives both MP and heals. But you kind of need to get her to connect at least on turn 1 and turn 2, which might be a bit troublesome sometimes. Other characters that are really good are, for example, basically anyone also actually that equips this one. This is Memoria that you got for, as you can see, some special events. You can't just get this. They were handed out during some events. And I think on the Japanese server, if you played since the start of the game, you have 2 of these. At least I have 2 of these, so you can give these to 2 characters to get 20 MP more when the battle starts. To 2 characters, that's really awesome as well. And I guess we have the most overpowered character in the entire game, which is Momo and Nagisa, Valentine's version for ranked mirrors at least. So okay, let's talk about her. Let's not worry around too much. She has a lot of HP, that's really good. Balanced stats, but who cares? She is not an Exile Gorilla, but it's okay. We don't care too much about all of that. What is it actually that makes her really good? Well, it's actually one main thing. There's one main thing that makes her really good, which is this: Endurance Skill Quicken. So first off, you can't die on turn 1, and if you have some other character nearby who has the ability to taunt on turn 2 or to heal on turn 2, you can get her healed back up or keep her safe. Awesome. Secondly, skill quicken. You can get actives out on turn 2. You can get actives out on turn 2. You can get actives on turn 2. Guaranteed, because 100%. Other characters have this as like 15% or 10% passive on their SE. She has it guaranteed on her Spirit Enhancement, guaranteed on her active. And with actives on turn 2, not only do you know that you're going to get the active out on turn 2, like your active Memoria, like the actual effect of the active Memorial, for example, Quell Bloom makes it really nice to not take any more damage on turn 2. You can use Quell Bloom together with a damage down Memorial, like Negotiator, and now the enemy deals absolutely no damage on their turn, and you're basically guaranteed to survive. You can use some other defensive Memoria if Nagisa is out there. You can use another taunt Memoria on there. Let's say, for example, some other character gets hit on turn 1 and they're on low HP. Then with this on turn 2, you can activate a taunt Memoria and keep them safe, something like that. You can do a whole bunch of stuff, basically do anything, and that's actually kind of absurd. But not only do you get these effects, of course you get bonus points for using more actives, so you get those bonus points as well. Awesome. Guess what? He's also rather tanky because she has, where is it? Oh, she's just rather tanky. She just has a bunch of HP and defense. But more importantly, what I want to mention is she does indeed have MP gauge increase on battlefield. That's what I was looking for. She has 30 MP on battle start, so she can also get to Magia rather quickly. Awesome. And if you get a connect with her, they get a whole bunch of defense, a whole bunch of damage. Ignore damage card also, but most importantly, they get defense up. Awesome. If she gets a Magia out, and this is actually also really awesome, if she gets a Magia out, she heals everyone, so even if towards the end of the fight, like let's say you want to end the battle with this Magia, and your team isn't looking too great, you can heal all of them, and now they're just going to give you more points. You're just going to get more points. This right here might as well say, give rank points, please. Yeah, that's what she does. So overall, she's pretty good. Tanky, doesn't die, gets actives out on turn 2, gets big good Magia. Her connect is good, is defensive, and her Magia heals. Awesome. So let's look at some look at what it might look like. So just in general, you would just play a team with like 3 or so really good Excel characters, some of that I mentioned, like Karin, Madoka, Nagisa right here, regular Nagisa as well, Suraji, Mitama, Ao, Rena, anything you can imagine that you know gets to Magia really quickly. Probably give them a bunch of this as well. Probably just worry about surviving, play defensive, use Memoria that are rather defensive in general, and then just try to win on turn 3 with whatever Magia you've built up until then. And I've got a bit of a bonus towards you guys for the very end. Here's Rena Cass, who shows up. This was right as Suraji released, and they sort of tested out what would happen. She was released right after the last ranking ended, so that's why this tweet says this. But she did the following. She just said, okay, we're just going to see what happens when I just play Valentine's Nagisa together with Suraji. They're both going to activate their actives. So Suraji is going to get attacked and get a whole bunch of MP. You're almost guaranteed to get an Excel combo. I don't know if it's 100% guaranteed. You're almost guaranteed to get an Excel combo at least. So Suraji is going to get Magia. If you get the Excel combo, then Nagisa gets the gets enough as well to get the Magia out. So she's going to use some actives right here. One active, just Quell Bloom, just in case the enemy doesn't die, so you don't take any damage. And also a damage increase just to actually kill the enemies, because this is trying for a turn 2 finish. This is a turn 2 finish with 2 Magia, with full skill bonus for using 3 active skills. It was 2 actives, actually 4 in total. Everyone is full HP basically because of the heal. So everyone is full HP, no one died. We got all the skill bonuses, we got 2 Magia out. This is what could probably get into S2, probably even S3, like this sort of combo could do that. This sort of combo could get into S3, and that's what the new ranked metas look like. And at the beginning of this video, I talked a little bit about how you can probably not do that if you are free to play, and that's basically the reason why, because you need highly specific characters. On the old meta, you only needed some characters that could blast well or could survive a turn or something, or preferably some that could do both. Like Tab was really good, sure, but Akane could do the same thing, right? Like there's other characters that could do similar things. Nanaka can do that. Everyone has Nanaka. Everyone has Yachio. Like you can do Yachio Nanaka double, and that could also work really, really well. And then you needed just any good DPS memos. I mean, since you had Yachio Nanaka, they're probably on 4th slot anyway, so it was a lot easier to just get a bunch of stuff that could catapult you into S rank. But now you need these specific characters, like not these two, like in general, some very specific characters that perform really well under these conditions, with Memoria that makes sure they don't die, but also that they still have enough damage to win, with the full Spirit Enhancement for these characters. So you need the Spirit Enhancement unlocked for all of these different characters. Yeah, you need all of this stuff to make sure that this actually happens. You need all of them at 4 slots, probably, because you actually need the active Memoria to actually go off, and you not just the active Memoria to go off, you also need to be able to give them 4 Memoria, just so that they have more HP and more defense, so that they actually survive and take less damage. There's so much more that goes into this now, that if you're free to play, I mean, I'm free to play as well. I can probably still get into S rank, like S1, maybe S2, who knows, because I've been playing since release, and I have some characters that can somewhat play into this, although I have to be honest, I pretty much always only ever rolled for blast characters, so I actually don't have that many of these. Yeah. But like I said, it's a lot more highly specialized about very specific things that are in some cases unlimited, like Karen and Mitama and Madoka, for example. In some cases, very much limited, like Nagisa, like Suraji, like this, which you can't even get anymore. So, yeah, that's that. And this is basically what ranked mirrors looks like on the Japanese server. This is the Magia meta that people were talking about. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time.